And the little light is on.
I believe you are mastering the art of the internet camera, brother.
Hello, video gamers. I'm Shutanaka, that's my brother Chan, and another year's electronic entertainment exposition has finally dissolved back into the three base elements from which it was formed: promotional trinkets, awkward self-aggrandizement, and pervasive body odor.
Like many developers, we tend to be rather busy during the actual show, tending booth and preventing respected game journalists from stealing our ink pens, and thus don't get much of a chance to catch up on the big news and announcements until after the equipment's packed, the blood's been mopped up, and everything's settled down a bit.
This year, we've intentionally avoided any of the major press conference spoilers so that we can experience them fresh right now, right here for your entertainment on the first annual Shoe and Chan Goggles and Giblets E3 Wrap-Up Spectacular, sponsored by Shoutin' Mountain Code Extreme Gamer Gasoline branded energy drink, which is, as best we can determine, a caffeinated citrus soda with a strip of fried bacon in it.
High calorie means high performance.
So, before we get into the meat of the presentation, Chan, what are you hoping to see on stage today?
Well, so many things. Some trained dogs would be nice, maybe a tasteful comedy set, a demonstration of fully functioning cybernetic eyeballs, a good pyrotechnic display.
Well, okay. Anything game-related?
No, I get enough of that at work. I know what the show is, but there's no call for dishonesty.
Well, I'm hoping to see something new from Bethesda, maybe a proper Elder Scrolls title or even a brand new IP, provided it plays identically to a proper Elder Scrolls title. I'd also like to see status updates on the Final Fantasy VII Remake, find out more about what BioWare's been working on, hear details on Cyberpunk 2077, and, now that I think about it, I guess I'd like to see a Train Dog Act 2.
Preferably one in which they wear little hats.
I'm not in the habit of stating the obvious, brother. Now, are we ready to start this?
Quite possibly. What preparation is expected of us?
Well, it's a video highlight reel, so I don't know. I guess just don't be stricken blind or deaf when I hit the play button.
In that event, I'm good to go.
Then, video gamers, we are proud to present to you highlights from the E3 2017 press conferences. I should mention here that the highlight reel was edited together by Arnie, so there's a very real possibility that it's all going to turn out to be spliced footage of squirrels playing outside the convention center, or half an hour of the back of somebody's head.
Welcome to EA Play 2017, coming to you from the Hollywood Palladium.
So the first segment we'll be looking at are highlights from the Electronic Arts press conference, which they have named EA Play, because their head of branding is apparently Frankenstein's monster.
EA in recent years has focused on three distinct types of games: sports, military, and sci-fi. And because the respective audiences really only share about a 5% overlap, it's a delicate business trying to appeal to fans of one particular genre without sending everyone else in the room into a coma. Let's see what happens this year.
Creating and sharing with the rest of the world.
Let's give you a first look at In the Name of the Tsar. A revolution is coming.
Pause for laughter, keep smiling, single tear.
You'll think that guy could really break some wind.
Hard Crimson is the red Crayola crayon's moody teenage brother. You've never been a fan of the military shooter, have you, brother?
Well, I'm iffy on multiplayer games in general, Chan. It's ironic that adding actual living humans to your game makes the whole experience so much more artificial. But no, I get very little satisfaction from military shooters. They're literally an attempt at depicting somebody's worst day ever, so the developer's success hinges on sending you, the user, into the throes of clinical depression. That there are also 13-year-olds from Idaho teabagging your corpse is mostly incidental.
I feel that there was a missed opportunity in not naming the expansion Shooting for the Tsars.
Or Tsar Struck.
Tsarting to die.
That's a reach.
Wait, Tsar Wars.
I think you win, brother.
I am a YouTube creator, so I am here to talk about Need for Speed Payback. If you guys didn't know, Need for Speed Payback,
Look, brother, it's a YouTube influencer.
An influencer? What a novel concept. So young people look at him and think, good Lord, what am I doing with my life? It's time to finally put this silly YouTube thing on the back burner and really buckle down on my schoolwork.
Almost the exact opposite, brother.
What, really? A half-articulate Starbucks barista fumbling over basic enunciation and the response is, I want to be more like that?
There's clearly a low initial buy-in.
It does answer a lot of terrible questions about the state of society. With that said, remember to like us, video gamers.
And subscribe.
A way out. Take a look.
According to the notes, this next bit is for A Way Out, an action-adventure game designed to be played entirely in split-screen multiplayer.
Now that is a unique idea, and the plot apparently involves a prison break involving Bob Odenkirk and a Norwegian troll with mechanic sideburns. You know, the incarceration theme in particular seems to be very on point, since depending on another person in one's household to play competently with you for the entirety of a multi-hour game will inevitably lead to several violent felonies.
I distinctly recall you attempting to force-feed me an NES controller during Battletoads co-op.
You bit me! I still have the marks on my ankle.
Maybe next time you'll take the turbo tunnel a bit more seriously.
You used the... Wait, we're getting off topic. Neutral ground. What's the best contraband to hide in a prison toilet tank? My vote would be for one of those hang-in-there kitten posters in a waterproof bag. I feel like there'd be days you'd need it.
I think I'd use the toilet tank to stash a 2000 Flushes brand sanitizing puck. I feel my inexplicably pristine toilet bowl would really boost my reputation in the yard. My prison persona would be aloof and mysterious. They'll point me out to the new meat and say, "We don't know much about him, but his toilet smells fantastic." Well, this one hardly needs an introduction. Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's supposed to address a number of concerns from the first iteration, including a full single-player campaign, no season pass, and much more launch content. And you, brother, don't seem terribly enthusiastic about it.
Oh, you have me entirely wrong, brother. I'm thrilled that we get to fight the evil robot duck soldiers alongside the noble paragons of Rastafarian dignity that are the Gungan forces. It's wonderful that we get to see a lightsaber-wielding Yoda hopping around the landscape like a moldy green Daffy Duck. I'm absolutely ecstatic that this game has seen fit to gift us with the experience of living inside the wet, extended taco fart that was the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Who knows, maybe we'll even get to fight the real menace in the galaxy, sand.
The single-player campaign takes place immediately following Return of the Jedi, brother. The prequel content is hardly the entire game.
Consider this, Chen. I have a big tub of Rocky Road ice cream, but 15% of the chocolate chunks are actually frozen rabbit poops. Can I dish you out a big bowl?
Let's at least agree that the game's visuals are top-notch, even the prequel segments.
Yes, who would have thought that you actually can polish it?
Let's move on to Bethesda.
Alright, so yes, Bethesda also did a press conference this year, and this is one I'm really looking forward to, being a big fan of the Elder Scrolls / Fallout / whatever else ends up using the creation engine genre. Do you realize there hasn't been a new Elder Scrolls game since 2011? We are way past due.
What about Elder Scrolls Online?
What about I'll find that old NES controller and jam it right down your esophagus? The Elder Scrolls Online isn't an Elder Scrolls game, it's Elder Scrolls branded merchandise. It's a tin lunchbox sold at Hot Topic with the Elder Scrolls logo on it. At its very best, it's nothing more than an IV drip for Elder Scrolls fans who've gone into withdrawal. Its entire livelihood relies on an actual new Elder Scrolls game not existing.
Which I believe means, with the release of the Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind expansion, that the chances of seeing an actual new Elder Scrolls game tonight are pretty thin.
Well, probably, but like I said, I'm good with whatever massive open-world creation engine-powered RPG Bethesda has been working on.
You seem very confident that they will reveal one of those.
Well, of course, brother. They know what we're here for. There'd be no point in having a press conference if it was just going to be 3 or 4 new 8-hour experiences. They just fold those announcements into one of the major console shows. No, tonight is something big. Let's get started.
Look, brother, Fallout in VR.
I see it. I would admittedly be more excited if I hadn't already played through the entire game 3 times, but I do think massive open-world experiences are a big step in the right direction for virtual reality.
That direction's ultimate destination being
human beings living out their entire existences in VR suspension pods, their physical bodies having evolved into nearly unrecognizable Lovecraftian lumps of flesh from eons of disuse. Although 10-to-1 odds inside the virtual realm, they're all anime avatars.
Actually, brother, I think a game like Fallout in VR would do wonders for getting gamers up on their feet and moving around, and I see a very bright future for the technology. In fact, I can see a day when your average gamer does all his gaming through a VR headset.
Because he destroyed his regular television set by flailing wildly at a virtual deathclaw?
Exactly.
In the Dishonored universe, a story of revenge and the ultimate assassination.
Here's something interesting, a new standalone expansion for Dishonored.
An excellent series, this is welcome news.
What dark powers of the void would you use, brother?
Devouring Swarm, but instead of having the rats eat my enemies, I'd train them to dance. I would essentially have the power at any given moment to instigate a rodent flash mob.
My weapon of choice would be Blink, but I'd use it exclusively to cut line. Lady can't make up her mind at Starbucks? Bamf, right in front of her. 45-minute wait for Pirates of the Caribbean? Bamf, right on the boat.
I suppose you should at least get credit for not immediately using your powers to warp into the girls' locker rooms.
Oh, yes, I clearly did consider and reject that option, yes. Ahem.
They replaced Billy Lurk's eyeball with one of Grandma Tanaka's giant old lady earrings.
Gruesome.
Dowd, it's good to see you, old man.
You up for one last job, Billy?
Bring that bucket over here. I haven't peed for 2 days.
I'm responsible for all the chaos.
We're gonna kill the outsider.
Hey now, spoilers.
Now here's one that made it through the rumor mill well before E3. Wolfenstein: The New Colossus imagines a dark alternate timeline in which the highest levels of the United States government have been taken over by Nazis.
Alternate, you say?
Say what you will about evil fascist regimes, but they encourage clockwork efficiency in their milkshake establishments. Milkshake Nazi, we salute you. We have to, or else he executes our families.
As with Wolfenstein: The New Order, I think we can expect the heart of the game, as well as the liver and intestines, to revolve around taking out scores of Nazi enemies rallying for your demise. And if you consider that to be a fairly uncontroversial position, then, friends, welcome to the YouTube comment section. Well, that was enjoyable. Let's see what they have for us next.
I think they're actually wrapping up the show, brother.
No, this is the double fake-out. They pretend they're going to leave, and then they pull a Columbo and show us the goods. Just watch, there's a brand new open-world RPG right on the other side of this. Just watch.
I think the show's over, brother. Yep.
Dang, Fred, yep, Brand, Roll, Snow. Okay, I'm calm. And I guess we're going to do Ubisoft now, because nothing matters in this world.
We'll try to keep up a brave face, however, won't we, brother?
Sure.
As a company, Ubisoft enters this E3 in a uniquely embattled state, as the publisher struggles against a corporate takeover by media giant Vivendi, leaving journalists to ponder what precisely we can expect from Ubisoft this year.
Probably another Just Dance game.
Easy, brother. Actually, according to the notes, the show kicks off with a gameplay reveal of Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, as none other than Shigeru Miyamoto himself takes the stage. But, frankly, from a copyright standpoint, we're not touching direct feed video footage of Nintendo characters with a 10-foot pole, so just imagine for yourself how that one goes.
Alright, let's get this next game over with.
Smiles, brother, we've still got 2 more press events after this one.
Right. Okay. Hey, Ancient Egypt. This could be interesting.
It's kind of stunning how much the original Sphinx resembled Charlie McCarthy.
The ravages of time were very kind to it.
The first to guard the soul from evil.
This looks pretty good, brother. I don't know where they're going with this, but I think I'm on board.
They are the first to call themselves the Assassins.
Alfred, another Assassin's Creed game. They always do this. I always fall for it. They make a really nice-looking game set in a really interesting historical locale that none of the other big developers have exploited to any significant degree, and then they pull the switcheroo.
The switcheroo being that it's an Assassin's Creed game.
Yes, it's not even that Assassin's Creed is a terrible series. I'm sure they come by their 75% Metacritic average honestly. But every single one of their game reveals are like this, where they don't tell you it's an Assassin's Creed game up front. It's like, how can I describe this? It's like, imagine if one year you started to watch a game trailer for some exciting new open-world franchise in a picturesque location, and then halfway in they revealed that it stars Jar Jar Binks, and all your major gameplay revolved around Jar Jar going about, licking random people and shrieking in his stupid voice.
Okay.
Alright, now imagine the next year you watch another game trailer and it seems to be a completely different game. New setting, different era, and you get really excited, and then halfway through it happens again. It's actually another game about Jar Jar Binks licking people.
Okay.
Now imagine that exact scenario happening 10 times in a row, where whatever your initial thoughts on the potential of an exciting new game series might be, it turns out to be about Jar Jar Binks licking people and shrieking like an idiot, and that's the Assassin's Creed series in a nutshell.
You're very young to be so bitter.
I have lived many lifetimes, brother, and they were all Jar Jar Binks licking people.
And here we have Far Cry 5, a significant departure for a series that normally takes place in the kind of exotic locales where one would not be overly surprised to run into Indiana Jones. This time around, the game is set in rural Montana in a small town that has been taken over by a violent cult.
Yes, and I'm really not certain how to feel about the change, frankly. The other games were showing us wondrous new vistas. This one, however, we live in Ohio, and we wait behind these guys buying Slim Jims at the gas station.
Do you think it's really possible for something of this scale to occur in modern America? A whole town to essentially go off the grid unnoticed by the authorities?
Oh, absolutely. Not even a question, brother. It's a big country.
Where dreams stay with you.
The concept at work is rural time dilation. The further you get into the country, the slower things become. You get slower vehicles like tractors and bulldozers, the internet runs slower, cell towers become less efficient, enough of these things build up and you actually create a delayed temporal bubble. Right now, this very minute, women in South Dakota are just learning about Ugg boots and the television show Friends. It won't be until 2028 that people in Kansas indulge in a brief fixation on fidget spinners. And as for Montana, there are people there who have literally just purchased a first-generation Furby.
We are truly a nation divided. Look, brother, it's the trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2. This has no doubt set many a gamer's heart aflutter. Were you a fan of the first one?
Possibly. This was 14 years ago. To be completely honest, there are already significant elements of games on the scale of Half-Life 2 that have faded completely from my memory, so for a comparatively smaller release like BG and E, quite frankly, the only solid memory I can dredge up is that there were animal people and the player had a camera. For all I know, I'm remembering internet footage of a furry convention.
Yo, hand it over. I got a hot date who don't do late.
Monkey's got a date.
Mwah.
What? What?
What? That's Swiss chocolate, pig.
So which of these two loathsome characters are we rooting for? The rude, ugly old pig, or the foul-mouthed, cheating monkey?
The Revised Standardized Tropes Handbook, Volume 17, dictates that when two equally unappealing personalities appear on screen, the one with the fewest physical deformities is the good guy by default.
Do they not lose points for making the monkey the jivey character?
Normally, yes, but these developers are French. Their racial stereotyping is sophisticated and cultural.
Ah, art.
This trailer stirs an odd mix of reactions within me. It's a combination of marveling at the design and animation, and wanting to slap every single character in it right in their stupid faces. I'll bet it's expensive to rent advertising space on the Elephant God's beanie.
True, but for that price, he'll never forget your brand.
Their hideout is fortified, yes, but its greatest defense is that the act of opening those doors unleashes a wall of stench like a barnyard in August.
Let's see what we've got.
For as much as sci-fi movies are pushing them, I don't think full-room monochrome ghost mist monitors are ever really going to catch on.
Hey guys, want to come over to my place and have the big game wafted gently in your faces? So I guess that's Beyond Good and Evil 2, a completely pre-rendered CG trailer that was utterly unlike the pre-rendered CG trailer they showed several E3s ago. Give it a few more years and they'll have enough for a short film collection.
And so that was Ubisoft at E3 2017, hands down the Frenchiest press conference at the show.
None Frenchier. But it's time now to put individual publishers behind us and gaze towards the broader horizons of the console manufacturers, starting with Microsoft, who will finally answer the big questions about their secret Scorpio console. What will it be called? How powerful is it? What will it do? And how much will it cost?
Actually, brother, it's all written down in the notes. It's called the Xbox One X, the specs are readily available online. Mostly what it will do is render games in 4K resolution with high dynamic range, and it will cost $500 when it launches on November 7th.
Oh. Well, fair enough. I suppose not doing this live does take some of the suspense out of the equation. Let's just check out some games instead.
Look, brother, this scene is so bleak and depressing that it could only be part of the long-running Metro series. Let's watch and despair.
Do you think that the post-apocalypse genre is in danger of being played out?
I wouldn't think so. What is the apocalypse, after all, but an extremely messy new beginning? At its essence, any given post-apocalypse story is little more than a frontier story with hundreds of millions of corpses as set dressing.
Like a version of Bonanza set in post-genocide Rwanda.
An evocative and deeply problematic comparison, brother.
So do you suppose it would work in reverse? Can you transpose any given Wild West story to the post-apocalypse with minimal reconfiguration?
Absolutely. Name any one.
True Grit.
That one's easy. Just make fugitive Tom Cheney into a radioactive mutant cannibal and give Rooster Cogburn 3 eyes instead of 1.
The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
The man who shot and subsequently ate Liberty Valance.
How about a musical, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers?
7 brides, a single brother, but 7 heads. Lots of close harmony singing.
Well, despite the bleakness, I have to say that Metro Exodus looks really good, and I'll say this. While I may be a bit burnt out on apocalyptic settings, at least that trailer didn't have one single zombie.
Next up, State of Decay 2.
Oh, come on! Okay, State of Decay 2. There are zombies, and you have to kill them. Did I leave anything out?
I think there's a bit more to the game.
Moving on! Ah, now here's something I can get into.
Yes, Cuphead looks fantastic.
Oh, you're seeing this too? I thought the 5th of NyQuil I took before the show had finally kicked in.
Remember me? You tried to humiliate me. You left your mark on me, but it didn't work. You burned my mind. I'll kill you. Until this moment, you have not known suffering.
Oh, look, Chen, it's a sequel to Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor.
You are correct, brother. This is the gameplay reveal of Middle-earth Shadow of War, coming October 10th.
It looks alright. Of course, it's likely to be just as divisive as the last one.
Divisive? I thought Shadow of Mordor received very good reviews.
From critics, yes, but for fans of the books, things were dicier. Because Shadow of Mordor was ultimately 2 things. 1, an open-world action title, and 2, a big steamy dump on J.R.R. Tolkien's grave.
Oh, yes, I suppose it does rather take some liberties with Lord of the Rings canon.
Which puts the fans in an awkward position, because on the one hand, the game actually is rather good, but on the other, Tolkien himself would unquestionably hate it with a bloody passion. And this entry appears to continue that trend, turning Tolkien's thoughtful epic into something of a fantasy world buddy cop movie as written by Guy Ritchie.
Lord, same thing really. End results me ripping spines out, which I like to do anyway, so either way's a win.
I suppose it would be a difficult task to make a game true to the actual spirit of Tolkien's writings.
I'm glad you asked, brother.
I don't think I asked anything.
It just so happens that I am carrying the full design document for my own extremely authentic Lord of the Rings RPG, a sprawling epic that is called
Lord of the Rings?
Hobbit Simulator. It begins with the Hobbit generator tool where you can construct your very own Hobbit avatar with sliders for bulbousness of nose, head and foot hairstyling, and dynamic but lore-friendly naming options that range from Chumble Flubkins all the way to Farty Agglewop.
And then you go on an epic quest?
No, of course not. You stay in Hobbiton tending your garden, growing taters, and smoking the finest pipeweed. On fine summer evenings, you can head to the Green Dragon Inn where you can down a proportional pint or two of ale and sing merry songs about elves.
And does this game have any sort of conflict in it, brother?
Of course, you act like I've never designed a game before. There are snails, potato bugs, the occasional gopher.
I meant more interpersonal conflict.
Oh yes, the Sackville Bagginses get very passive-aggressive towards you.
I cannot fault your authenticity, brother.
Here's the new one from BioWare. Alien Flea Market, Giant, Cubus, Mantis, AT-AT. It looks promising so far.
You think you'd want to rope off a dedicated walkway for those things?
Freelancer.
Praxling,
Listen, there's trouble. Big trouble.
what did you do?
I made a mistake. I hired some people. They weren't freelancers. I know. They said they could handle it, and the price was right. I thought maybe...
Unbelievable.
You're right. It was stupid. I'm sorry. But they're still out there.
A rescue mission in a richly drawn sci-fi world. So far, so good.
Anything you need.
In the world of Anthem, you and your friends are freelancers, the heroes who leave the safety of the walls of Fort Tarsus to explore the unknown and protect humanity. Let's join two players as they head out on an expedition.
What? Oh no, it's an online multiplayer game. Enthusiasm diminishing.
It still looks very nice.
Enthusiasm gone.
This is a vast open world you explore with your friends.
What precisely is your problem with multiplayer? We do multiplayer all the time.
But this is a BioWare game. They made Mass Effect and Dragon Age and Jade Empire. RPG storytelling is what they're good at.
And what makes you think there won't be rich, immersive storytelling in this?
Because it's multiplayer. Developers don't put any effort into story or immersion in multiplayer games because they know it's a wasted effort. They could spend millions doing elaborate interactive cutscenes and world building, and it wouldn't matter at all because the player's co-op partner would still be standing in frame doing the funky chicken dance emote.
Harsh, but not incorrect.
If there was anything substantial to the story or characters, they'd have spent a few minutes telling us about that instead of jumping immediately to, it's a place where you and your friends can shoot stuff, and then spending the remaining demo time explaining the many, extremely similar ways in which you and your friends can shoot stuff.
We should probably start wrapping this up, brother. Apparently, overexposure to video games makes you cranky. Fortunately, there's only one more press conference to get through, and that will be Sony. There, brother, sit back and experience the soothing sights and sounds of Sony's live sitar band. Are you feeling calmer?
I think, brother, that I'm experiencing heightened levels of grooviness. Is the Cuphead trailer about to play again?
No, according to the notes, this is a lead-in to the trailer for the Uncharted spin-off, The Lost Legacy.
Groovy.
Stay with us, brother.
The trident. The bow and arrow.
So this is a new Uncharted game?
Just an expansion, brother. It looks nice, though, doesn't it?
Where's the usual people? Nathan Drake and that guy who talks like Cliff the Mailman.
Sully. They're not in this one. Instead, ancillary characters Chloe and Nadine take center stage.
Ah, it stars women. I trust that the gaming community will accept this fact with good grace and maturity.
Do you?
No, of course I'm kidding, brother. Gamers are horrible. What's next on the menu?
Well, up next we have Days Gone, a post-apocalyptic zombie...
Skip it.
It doesn't look bad.
Next.
You play as a smelly biker.
I said next.
I suppose skipping all the content of the conferences is an efficient approach to a wrap-up.
I'm just sick of the same old thing, brother, and I think I have every right to be. We've been fed the same genres, rehashes, remakes, sequels, and spin-offs for years now, and it's reaching a breaking point. If the next trailer isn't something completely original, I'm walking out. Okay, clearly I was lying.
You liked Shadow of the Colossus.
Liked is a difficult word, brother, particularly for a melancholy, nearly monochrome game in which you systematically destroy wonders such as the world will never know again. Rather, it would be more correct to say that I was moved by it. It's like expressing admiration of an Ingmar Bergman film. Regardless of how deeply affecting one finds it, it's still something of a rare day in which one calls one's friends and tells them to grab some beer and Funyuns and come over because the seventh seal is on.
If only he'd engineered his cinematic output to be a bit more Twitch streamer friendly.
I really liked the visuals on this remake, but you know what else would be good for Shadow of the Colossus? Virtual reality. Imagine climbing on one of those monsters at 1-to-1 scale. That would be an experience worth the nausea and whatever property damage or disoriented sword flailing incurs in your living room.
Do you suppose the Colossi ever wondered why they were created with little jumping platforms up and down their body? Like, did any of them experience a moment of clarity in their final battle when they see the little guy hopping around on them and think, oh hey, that's what those were for?
Hey, it's the new God of War. Do you know the most remarkable thing about this reimagining of the character, Chan?
Is it that for once Kratos does not come across as a foaming-at-the-mouth, testosterone-drenched, rage-spewing imbecile?
No, not at all. The beard, look at that thing. It tells us so much more about the character.
That he forgot his razor?
You're on the right track. Think back to the earlier games. Not a hint of stubble, was there? But look at the dark color of his hair versus the complexion of his skin.
What are you getting at, brother?
Think about it. Do you realize how often he'd have had to shave in the earlier games to avoid even a hint of 5 o'clock shadow? Literally once every 4 hours he'd have to stop combat, sharpen up his disemboweling blade, and give his entire face a once-over. That speaks of a fastidious personality given over to the whims of youthful vanity. Whereas now, with this glorious beard sprouting out from his jaw like a blow-dried muskrat, we can see the maturity of a man who accepts, as must we all, the capriciousness of fate.
I thought Kratos systematically dismembered the Fates while leaping around grunting like a muskox.
We all deal with advancing age in our own way, brother. The important thing is that now Kratos has to clean up his act, because now he has a son.
Somehow, Kratos being saddled with that scrawny little fellow doesn't seem like it would do much towards keeping his legendary rage in check.
I'd like to be there the day Kratos Jr. comes home from school and tells his father that he's joining the drama club instead of the football team. That would be entertaining.
But is it not always thus between fathers and sons? This endless dance of expectations, disappointment, respect, and resentment. And in your case, brother, a near-endless string of entreaties to upgrade home theater equipment.
Father has not upgraded his living room television since 2000, brother. It's a 27-inch screen. Who can live like that? He's driving mother to blindness.
At any rate, despite the fantastical Norse-inspired settings, it seems that the true character arc of this game revolves around Kratos trying to teach his wayward son the ways of manhood.
So, essentially, Kratos is now Hank Hill.
He sells pain and pain accessories. Alright, this is the final trailer of our show, brother, and I think we're going out on a high note. It's Spider-Man.
His theme song would have you believe that he can do whatever a spider can, but I've yet to see him drain a struggling grasshopper of his internal juices or eject a thin stream of webbing from his buttocks. I feel that would really change the dynamics of this game.
I have to say, from a visual standpoint, at least this game looks excellent. What do you think, brother?
Brother Chen, I am 100% out of commentary. Just flat out got nothing to offer. And I really need to stand up soon, my leg's going to sleep.
Insightful as always. I suppose we can begin the exit procedures a little early. Our verdict on Sony's Spider-Man? It goes on like this, you get the idea.
Well said, let's wrap up.
So, how did the show end up comparing with our predictions?
We got skunked, brother, no new IP from Bethesda, not a hint of Cyberpunk or Final Fantasy, not even one live dog on stage, beheaded or otherwise. As a gamer, I give this year's showing a solid meh.
I'm not sure that's fair, brother. After all, the presentation isn't to be judged on what we hoped they'd show, but rather on the quality of what they did show. And on that score, there are several solid entries. Wolfenstein, Metro, God of War.
All right, fine, I'll give them a meh and a half. You know what this year's show is missing?
Trained dogs, you just said.
Single-player games with longevity. All the titles on display this year, they're probably fine, but you'll play them once and then move on. There's nothing I've seen that won't be out of the console and back on the shelf within a month of purchase. I feel like we really needed something on the scale of a Skyrim or a Grand Theft Auto or a Witcher 3, and they didn't offer that, so as a gamer, I feel this year's E3 simply did not measure up.
I can see that.
As a developer, however, I think we're doing just fine. Consumer disappointment drives the indie market. What could be better for our business than gamers flailing their cash around wildly, buying blindly and desperately in a bid to fill the void left by the lack of the next Elder Scrolls or Red Dead Redemption? Without a solid holiday winner in the wings, it's a free-for-all, and the little guy has as much chance to rise up as anyone. A little creative marketing, and we could make some serious scratch this year, coasting on the broken hopes and dreams of the gaming masses. Not you guys watching, other people.
I think it's about time we close this one out, brother.
Right. Well, video gamers, I hope you enjoyed this look at the games of E3, and if you're wondering why we didn't include the trailer for a particular game in our presentation and are getting ready to leave an angry comment about it, remember that our highlight reel was literally put together by a ground squirrel. We will be happy to forward any complaints.
If you did enjoy today's presentation, I would like to remind you to like and subscribe to our channel. And if you're ready to really step up to bat, you can support the creation of new videos directly at our Patreon, link below.
Tell us what you think, video gamers. I'm Shu Tanaka, that's my brother Chan, and we're here to tell you that E3 will never die. It just smells that way after 3 days on the show floor. We'll see you next time.